This edition of MacVoices is sponsored by Atlassian, the makers of Jira, Confluence, HipChat, and Bitbucket, helping teams everywhere team up to create what's next. Visit Atlassian.com to learn more. And by Macstock Conference and Expo and the Midwest Mac Barbecue, set for July 16 and 17 in Woodstock, Illinois. Join me, along with Melissa Davis, the Mac Mommy, Jody Spangler of Lakeshore Mac, technologist Kirsten Sia, and Wally Cherwinski of Magic 22. Find out more and register to attend at macstock2016.com. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, today we get to welcome back another old friend from the Macworld days, and also to show you an app that I want you to use. I hope you never need it. That may sound a little contradictory, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. Back joining us for her second time on MacVoices is Diane Hamilton. She is of Binary Formations, and she's here to show us the Home Inventory app. Diane, it's great to see you.
It's great to see you, Chuck. It's
been too long since the days of the Macworld show floor.
Too long. I can't believe it's been 2 years since the last one.
I know, it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't seem, but you seem to be rolling right along. In the pre-show, you said that you all have just celebrated 10 years.
10 years in October.
Wow, that's like an eternity in the software business.
It is. It started off as a hobby, actually, in 2005. Last 5 years have been full-time for us, both Kevin and I.
It's not a bad thing.
So it's a good thing. It's a very good thing.
Yeah. So we're here to talk about a home inventory, an app that you have for home inventory.
Right.
And before you turn it off and say, that's boring, I don't need this, stop. And we want to tell you why you need it. So, Diane, I've got a couple reasons I want to highlight, but I'll let you explain why you think people need to be aware of this.
Well, there's a number of things that I think are huge benefits with having a home inventory, and in particular using our app Home Inventory. Of course, the first aspect of it is for insurance purposes, right? If we don't have an inventory of our possessions or our belongings, we don't know how much insurance we actually need. So having an inventory is key to be able to know we're adequately insured. The other aspect is on the other side. Should you have to file a claim, you would have the proof of possession that's almost often required. For certain items, especially, you need proof that you own that item. You need proof of condition, those types of things. You also need a list of items that have been damaged or destroyed. And the last thing you want to have to do is come up with that list after the fact. And on the other side as well, on the back end, with an inventory, you can be assured that you're going to get a fair claim, an accurate claim settlement. So, insurance purposes for sure. The other side of it is just to track collections. That's why Kevin originally created Home Inventory, was to track his ever-changing guitar collection. So, actually the modifications that he makes to the guitars, because he's always tinkering with them and changing in and out parts. So he wanted a product that could track that kind of stuff for him as well. Then what we found through the years is to get people organized. An inventory gets people organized. You can get rid of the paper clutter that you used to have around for, with product manuals, with warranties, with receipts, and those types of documents. You don't need them in paper format anymore. You can store them all in an inventory. So those are the three areas really that we target and that we find Home Inventory is very beneficial for.
Judging by the guitar cases in the background there, Kevin's a busy boy.
They're always changing. You never know when one of those cases is empty.
Yeah. That's how he keeps you guessing. He sneaks some new ones into the house and you
Yeah,
don't know
we do have some rules,
it. That's a whole other show, Diane.
especially after leaving the corporate world, right? Oh,
Well, I'll throw out some of mine too. And
yeah.
as a lot of you folks know, I do work in the insurance business. I work in the claims side, ironically.
Yes.
And something like this makes the claims person's life so much easier, because the claim people, they want to give you, as Diane said, the fair settlement. And
Right.
to do so, they need some kind of proof. It's not enough to say I had a 50-inch TV. It's really nice if you can show a proof of purchase, but if not, at the very least, a picture of it sitting in your living room goes a long
Yes.
way. So that's the first thing. The second thing, as we record, the day we're recording this is the first day of hurricane season. And so I hope you never have that. I hope you don't have the twisters we're seeing out in the Midwest, or the fires we're seeing in Canada, or any of that. But if you do, having this kind of thing is going to be just invaluable. And with an app like Home Inventory, as Diane said, it's easier than ever, because now we have these cool little devices we carry with us everywhere called iPhones. And with an app on here, and Diane's going to show us a little bit of it, your life can just be so much easier in the event of a tragedy. We screen backups all the time. This is a different kind of backup. And this one arguably may be one of the most important. This and your photos, your family photos. You got to do something, folks. And really, don't put it off any longer. Just set a weekend and make it a fun thing. And I think with Diane, with this app, I think it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we hear that actually a lot from our customers, that we've taken a task that when you think about it, you dread doing it, but you need it. And when you ask somebody, do they have one, they'll say, I really need to do that, with a big sigh, because it's very daunting. But with an app like ours, you really can knock it out quickly. You don't have to do it all at once. You can do it in stages, and use the companion apps on the iPhone and iPad to really make it an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, well, again, pick a weekend, or do a room a week, or pick a night that's Home Inventory night and do just one room, or there are a lot of different ways to do it, but for heaven's sake, do it. It's never been easier, and it's so important.
It is, and we actually have a sister who lost their house in a hurricane. So it kind of hits home, and it's one of those things. You get the personal property insurance to protect your financial well-being, right? I mean, it's something that we get just in case. We know we need it, we do it, and the inventory, in conjunction with the personal property insurance, is really a full package. Then you're really, you're set. You are protecting your financial well-being.
You made an interesting point too, that it's usually not my end of the insurance claims business, but it also helps when you go to talk to your agent, if you can show them, like you said, how much do I need to cover this? Everybody listening to this show is most likely into electronics and all. And so you'd be surprised. Obviously, Diane's husband is into guitars. And so there's a lot of money potentially in those cases right there. But your insurance agent isn't psychic. He doesn't know this stuff. So he may sell you very well-intentioned because he wants to keep the prices down, so you're happy. Right. But you're not going to be very happy if you don't have adequate insurance.
And that's such a great point. And that's one of the things that we target in the application, is the insurance side of things, and things like doing coverage analysis to make sure you're covered down to the category level and down to the item level. So, for instance, you're in the industry, you understand there's certain limits in certain types of categories: jewelry, musical instruments,
guns.
Antiques or artwork. There's certain limits, and there's oftentimes riders that you need, endorsements that you need, and oftentimes you need the appraisals, an appraisal document and certain things. So we talk to agents and adjusters on a regular basis to make sure, that we're hitting those types of areas with the product, so that we can flag things like underinsurance. And yeah, so that's one of our targets. And that's really one of the main reasons Kevin developed the product to begin with, was to get that information so he could take it to his agent. It was his first house. He wanted to make sure he was covered adequately. So yeah, it's a big part of the application.
Yeah, and I don't want this to turn into Insurance 101. But,
No.
but on the other hand, I have to address one thing you were talking about. When you were talking about individual limits for specific items, there's a real good reason for that, and it helps to understand it. And that is that in a very small, relatively compact item, sometimes a very portable item, like a guitar or a gun or a piece of artwork, there's a huge amount of value in that. So the chances of that being lost are much greater. And so the insurance company, they're happy to give you adequate insurance, but
Yes.
you do have to pay for that. So you might have this beautiful dining room table that costs $500, but you might have a piece of artwork that's far more portable and far more easily damaged that's worth $5,000.
Right.
That's why you need to really pay attention to certain areas and let your agent know what you have so that they know what insurance you really need.
Exactly. And you know what? I don't think any insurance agent out there doesn't want you to be adequately insured. And so this is, it's a tool to help that.
So enough of the boring insurance stuff. Let's have some fun with the home inventory.
Let's liven it up a little bit, Chuck.
Yeah. Will you show us some of the home inventory app so we know?
I would love to.
All right.
I would love to.
Let's go for it.
Okay, great. So if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and just show you around a little bit in the app, and I would love to show you a little bit about the iOS helper apps as well, because we really we put the whole solution together using all of the different devices, not just the Mac and not just the phone or iPads. But I'm going to start on the Mac because that is the application. It's a Mac app. And when you open up Home Inventory and you go into the inventory file itself, this is what we're looking at right now, an inventory of a home. This is what you would see. And one of the benefits of having it file-based is that you can have as many inventories as you need. If you have rental property or a second home or anything like that, you can have as many inventory files as you need. It also gives you the ability to store that file wherever you want. By default, it's local to your computer, but it is separate from the application. So most people, we recommend store your inventory file on a sync server like Dropbox or iCloud Drive. So you can access it from any Mac. That way it's available. And Chuck, feel free to jump right in if you have any questions or want to see something different. We'll just have some fun now, as much fun as you can have with the inventory.
Well, you already hit a key point that I was going to ask you. So you do have the option to store these files in iCloud or on Dropbox, which if your home gets destroyed, that's where you want to have it, is somewhere offsite.
Yes, absolutely. And we also supply several different ways to back up your data as well, in addition to storing your base file in a sync service. You can back it up to Home Inventory Mobile Backup, which is one of our helper apps on iOS. So you can take your inventory with you. You always have it on the go. And we have an automatic backup to Dropbox. So several different ways you can make sure your file's protected and accessible should you need it. Okay. So let me jump right in here. This is where you can probably spend 95% of your time. This is your inventory. On the left-hand side, you can come in and filter your inventory by several different methods. For instance, locations. Typically, when you create an inventory, you go do it by room. So when you view your inventory, you want to view it by room. You can also view and filter by categories, collections, locations, and tags. And we seed the product with some basic categories and some basic locations so that when you first start, you can go get up and running very quickly. No need to customize, but you can add and remove custom locations, categories, collections, all of those things. That all can be customizable. In the middle here, we see your item list. So these are all the items that do not have a location specified for them. I'm going to come down here and look at our family room, and this is where you add and edit items. So I can add a new item right here, and it's really like I said, easy to get started because you can come in here and the only thing you have to have for an item is a name. So you can come in and put a name in, and that's your new item. Nothing else is needed. You can come back and fill out the information as it's convenient to you. And there's many different ways to look at or to sort your list. We just released version 3.5 in early May, and one of the things that we added was a sort by completion so that you could come in here and you could sort it by the percent completion, so you would know which items still need information defined to them. For instance, I'm going to show the item detail. Here's where we can show what types of information is already defined for these items. We have a photo, we've got a price and a photo, a price and warranty. So the idea of the product is to give you quick visuals, what you need to do, what you need to finish, what you already have, so you don't have to go digging through things to get it full. You can go back to the show item photo.
I love that feature. That's one I didn't know about, that you sort of you gather all those things together and at a glance know what you have for each item.
Yes. It's very helpful. It's very useful. And then being able to sort by that gives you the least completed first and the most completed at the end, so you have an idea of where to get started. So it's pretty useful. Ever to the right, just real quick, this is where you edit and add all your information for an item. And the neat thing about this product, again, and I can't, I'll probably say it a few more times, but when you first come into the product, it's very easy to get started. All of these are standard fields that are supplied with the product. However, if you're a power user or have different needs, you can customize all of this. You can add custom fields. You can take away fields that aren't meaningful to you. You can resort them, and you can do all of this based on a category. And an example would be, for instance, a piece of furniture is going to have different fields than, say, a book. I'm just going to bring this up. And this is a customized field layout for books. We've added an author and the ISBN number. So it's really neat to be able to customize that for your items. Then when you go over to the right, this is all the details of an item. You can add warranty information. You can add notes. And this is when I talked about Kevin wanting to modify or to keep track of the modifications he makes to his guitars. This is where he does it in the notes. You can have note after note with details of what you've done. Notes can be used for anything. They're the sticky note of home inventory. One way I use the notes is I track our car maintenance. So one of my categories is autos, and then our car, I scan in receipts and I write notes for everything that's been done. It's a pretty good way of keeping track of that for warranty purposes. And then you can add photos. You drag and drop photos in from photos or from your desktop, from the file. You can add from iSight or a scanner. Keep unlimited files. Receipts, you can scan in receipts. You can drag and drop receipts in. You can cut and paste text into a receipt. So very flexible here. And then files, things like warranty information, or here we have the chair reupholstery guide. It could be a product manual, it could be an appraisal, it could be, anything that belongs to this item that you may need to look at a later time or gather for some other reason. And so you come into your inventory, you have one place to see everything there is about that item. Let me see if I've missed anything. Oh, one last thing, a really neat thing is to be able to come in here and, based on your filter, see the number of items that are included in that filter and the value of those items. So for instance, in the family room, we have 10 items in this particular inventory that is valued at $26.78. So that's useful information.
This edition of MacVoices is sponsored by Atlassian, the makers of Jira, Confluence, HipChat, and Bitbucket, helping teams everywhere team up to create what's next. Visit Atlassian.com to learn more. Today, I want to tell you a little more about Atlassian's project management software, Jira. With Jira, you and your team stand a much better chance of shipping your software on schedule because you will have a clear, detailed understanding of where your project is at any given time in the development stage. Create user stories and issues, plan sprints, and distribute tasks across the team. Prioritize those tasks so everyone can see them, and make sure everyone is on the same page with the real-time visual reporting. You can choose a workflow within Jira or create your own, since your project is unlike anyone else's, right? That's the beauty of Jira. It can be used the way you want to use it, not the way someone else thinks your project should be organized. Of course, Jira integrates with Atlassian's other terrific software, including Confluence, HipChat, and Bitbucket, to deliver a full set of services for you and your team. And don't forget about the Jira iPhone app, because not all work gets done at the office. Want to see what Jira can do for you? Visit Atlassian.com and download a 7-day free trial. I think you and your team will be convinced. That's Jira, the #1 software development tool used by agile teams, made by Atlassian. Go to Atlassian.com for more information on Jira and all their great tools for teams, and put Atlassian to work for you. Thanks to Atlassian for their support of MacVoices. I really like the fact that you've included so many different fields. I mean, I know there's going to be somebody that says, I can write this in FileMaker for myself.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe you can, but
Sure.
are you going to? Yeah, that's the first thing. But
Yes.
the other idea that I can populate this with as much or as little as I want or as I have. I mean, if you're starting from scratch, if I'm starting from scratch tonight and go into my living room and take a picture of my sofa, all right, I'm sorry, I don't know where the receipt is.
Right.
And I got a rough idea of when I bought it. But again, at least you're getting something documented and adding to the information that you have available.
Yes, absolutely. And that's exactly right. As much or as little. I would say, though, and you brought this up earlier, one of the most important things that you may want to do in the beginning is take that picture.
Yeah. I'm not sure that I'm going to be documenting every, what was the thing you started off with? An iPhone charging cable.
Right.
But on the other hand, that may be a good example of if you have an inventory of something that you want, to your point about being file-based. If I decide I need an inventory of my cables, hey,
Yep.
I can create an inventory of my cables.
Or maybe you keep them in boxes and don't know which box to look in.
Amen.
So I know we have that here. I wanted to talk real quickly about the inbox because this is a new feature that we brought in with 3.5. And one of the focuses of this newest release was making adding and creating the inventory even easier than before. So easier. I'm a little tongue-tied. As easy and fast as possible. And with that, we brought in this feature called Inbox. And that's basically what it is. So you may go make some purchases, whether it's in a brick and mortar store or it's online on Amazon or some other online store. You can take the digital receipt that you get. Nowadays, stores are emailing them to you. You can take that from any application, from any website, from email, and through a print plugin, go ahead and add it to home inventory without ever opening home inventory up. So what that means is you could, maybe set a day a month to go check out the home inventory inbox and create any new items that you need to create based on the receipts. So it makes keeping your inventory up to date extremely easy and without even having to get into home inventory.
I like that. So you just, you scan it and it goes straight into home inventory because that's where you've designated it? Or is that like a printer driver for home inventory?
Yeah, it's a print plugin for home inventory. So let me just give you an example. Let's say I was on the Amazon site and just purchased something and I had the receipt right there. I would go into Safari, into File, and I would click on Print, and I would do, come down here in the drop down, and all my print plugins for all the applications that I may use are in here, and home inventory has one now. So I can select Send to Home Inventory. And home inventory doesn't have to be opened at this point. But when next time I open home inventory, I'll see that new receipt. And I can come through here, at the bottom, and I can select a receipt. I can add an item. Let's see. I can set all the fields, see books, and I can add that item. That receipt will be attached to that item now. And I didn't have to go do anything special. I just went through my inbox one at a time, creating items. So it's really easy to keep your inventory updated with any new purchases.
That's a really nice feature, especially, as you said, given that we're all getting receipts of one kind or another now emailed to us, or an Amazon order confirmation or something that documents what it is and how much it costs.
Right. So when you get that, go ahead and add it to home inventory. I know what we used to do in the past was keep a folder in mail and put all the receipts in there, and then have to remember to go back there and add an item and then attach the receipt. So it was a few more steps than it is now. So that's pretty cool. If you don't mind, can I show you the home inventory remote entry on the iPhone real quick?
Absolutely.
This, we created a number of years ago, this app. We were heading down the path of creating a standalone app on iOS for home inventory, because our customers were asking for that. But when we started really looking into what they were asking, what we really found was they were asking for a way to quickly build an inventory where they didn't have to be in front of their Mac, but then come back to the Mac and do the heavy editing, because it's no fun to do a lot of editing on that small device. So we came up with home inventory remote entry, and I'm going to go ahead up here and start a session. I'm going to come over here, and I've got my iPhone attached. I'm running remote entry on it, and I'm connecting to my Mac. And what this app allows you to do is to go and walk your home with your phone. Let me go back. I'm going to go into locations again, and I'm in Kevin's office. So I'm going to go into Kevin's office, and from here I can add items 3 different ways. I can either add an item and start taking pictures at this point, and adding different items, and it has all the fields that you, hang it here, we're going to take a picture of the computer. So I can add items. I can go through the house doing this, add all of the fields right here. So the other way that you can add items through home inventory remote entry is by scanning barcodes. So this is real helpful if you have a lot of books or DVDs or purchase items and still have the box. You can run around and, let's see, I'm going to scan this. There we go. Scan the barcodes, and then this item will be added to home inventory automatically. You can see the log on the computer side, on the Mac side, showing the items that have been added. Now, the third way, and this is something that we just added with 3.5, is what's called photo entry. And what this feature does is allow you to just really quickly walk around your room. Let's go ahead and take photos, add a name. Let's see. And then it takes you to take another photo and add another item. So it's just a real quick way of adding items in succession without having to go back through the UI. So, you know, picture yourself walking through a room and just taking picture after picture after picture. All you need is a photo and a name. You can go back to your Mac and do all the heavy editing. So you can use dictation to add an item as well. Name, computer, make, Apple, model, iMac, item, add, item, add. And so that item gets added all through voice dictation. So that's another way of quickly going through a room and adding items.
I love that. That's exactly how I would expect it to work, to have some of these capabilities. We all know that, you know, the voice dictation is not perfect, but boy, what a great way to try to get just a quick leg up on it. I mean, even if you, God, folks, even if you don't do anything else other than just walk around and talk to it and get those photos, you're light years ahead of the game.
Yes, and that was the whole goal of the remote entry app and the new dictation feature and photo entry feature, to just, you know, step it up again and get that going, get your inventory built out faster.
Yes, I mean I can really get excited about this because people with collections, book collections, or anything with barcodes, now, you know, you can just scan it and you have a place where you're not just scanning it, but you're inventorying it properly, and then open another file and, you know, do another collection, then open another one and do your home inventory the way this was designed.
Yes. The other cool thing about the remote entry app too is the offline mode. So you can actually enter items while you're not connected to home inventory on the Mac. And next time you connect over Wi-Fi to home inventory on the Mac, those items will get added. And where that is really useful, Chuck, is if you have offsite storage sheds or storage units, or maybe, you know, other vehicles or something off-site that you need to inventory, but you don't have Wi-Fi. So you can go ahead and do that and then come back and add everything at once.
Now, at the risk of taking us down a rat hole here, do I have control over which inventory file I'm remotely capturing for?
Yes.
Okay, I would think so. So that means, folks, that if you want to go to, your parents' house or your son's house or daughter's house and do an inventory for them, you can do it. Bring your iPhone back, and it'll dump into your home inventory file, and you've just given them a very nice birthday or holiday present.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Create their own home inventory file. You know what? I haven't even touched on. I'm going to move on to talk a little bit about the insurance features
Please.
in it. Now that, because at this point, we've talked about adding and maintaining inventory and everything that you can keep with it, or as little as you want to keep with your inventory. But one of the most important parts of all of this is insurance, and to make sure you're adequately insured and know that. So the policies feature allows you to track the different types of insurance you have for your family, yourself and your family. What we'll look at today is the personal property insurance. So we've just have an example of an insurance policy and how the coverage analysis works. You can add your information, the amount of coverage you have, the deductible that you have for the coverage, and the product will automatically total the value of all the items that are covered by this policy. And you can go in and actually choose which categories, collections, locations, or items are covered by this. If there's some things that aren't covered, for instance, there's some business equipment that we have that's not covered by our homeowners insurance. It's covered by a separate insurance contract that we have. So you can separate that type of stuff and really filter it the way your coverage works. The next thing that you want to look at when you put in your information, and this is stuff that you should review, every year and make sure that you're still covered with everything that you've added throughout the year. But the next thing is subcategories, and these are things that might have limits within your personal property coverage. For instance, jewelry typically has a limit. Now, I don't know what your limit is for jewelry, so you have to look at your coverage and put that information in. But once you do, for instance, this coverage has a limit of $2,500 for jewelry and a maximum single item value of $1,500. So what home inventory will do, will look at all the items that are in the category jewelry and warn you if you are not covered adequately. So there is an item in jewelry, mom's precious stone necklace, that exceeded the maximum value allowed for a single item. So you would know to go to your insurance agent, review this, and get adequate coverage. So you can have as many subcategories as you need based on your insurance. And you can take this information from here or from the reports. We have custom and standard reports, and one of them is a coverage analysis report. You can run that, and you can take that to your agent and run through things and make sure you're covered and watch them go, wow, how'd you get that information so quick? So, yeah. So that's a little bit about insurance. Do you have anything to add to that, Chuck?
Nothing other than just the impression I keep walking away with is this is a tool that you can go as deep in as you want, or
Yes.
almost as superficial as you want. But again, anything that you do with this application is going to just put you ahead of about 95% of the people out there who have something happen. And when you ask them for pictures or receipts,
Right.
they don't have them. So this, man, I can't say enough how much I think people need to pay attention to this just a little bit, and it'll help you so much.
Right. And we actually have seen companies that do. You have the information. You're probably going to get processed quicker.
Oh yeah. Oh well, sure. It's if you can tell me what model 50-inch TV you have and how old it is. Right away, it cuts the workload in it cuts the workload way down, folks.
Right.
So.
Right. And the last thing, real quick, I wanted to show you. Of course, you have to have the maintenance that goes along with your house. You have things that you need to do. You can schedule that in the home view, as well as keeping track of assessment history and home stats. And your maintenance schedule can sync with reminders and calendar so that you can be notified there for things that need to take place. And then just overall charts to see where you're spending your money, when you're spending, your spending habits and totals. You can come in here and create different types of breakdowns of reports to see visual graphics, to see your inventory. I'm sure there's other things I missed. We talked about the keeping your data safe and where to store it and access it. Oh, one thing really, really quick. I know we're going long here, but I talked about this earlier, home inventory mobile backup. This is another helper app for your iPhone or iPad that you can take your inventory with you. So you're out shopping and you want to see some details about items in your inventory. You can come in here and view your inventory while you're away and see all the details about your items, as well as the photos and receipts and files. And that also makes sure you have your inventory with you. Should anything happen, you've always got it.
Yeah, I really like that. That way, if you're on the way out the door because the fire's coming or the hurricane's coming, odds
Right.
are that you're going to be grabbing an iPhone or an iPad, and here you have it all with you.
Right.
The only thing I didn't like, Diane, that I really don't like a lot is I don't need anything else reminding me to have to mow the lawn.
I know.
That's the only.
Isn't that the truth?
so we can turn that one off. Other than that, this is fantastic.
We can hit ignore on that. Yeah, it really has. I mean, it's been a labor of love. It's something that we feel is really important, and we try to get the word out so people are prepared. I really can't tell you how good it feels to get emails from customers thanking us for doing this because it's helped them. It's just it's good, and if you have only a few items in your household, you still need an inventory. It's still helpful.
So there's so many great things to say about home inventory and the helper apps and everything. Let's make sure we walk through the pricing and availability of everything so that folks know what they're getting into. Sure.
Home inventory is available on the Mac, and it goes for $24.99. And it's available in the Mac App Store. We also have a trial version on our website, binaryformations.com. The helper apps, Home Inventory Remote Entry and Home Inventory Mobile Backup, are both free, and they are available for the iPhone and iPad in the App Store.
Excellent. Diane, thank you so much for a very in-depth look at an application that... Again, I started out by saying that, folks, I really hope you use this. I hope you never have to need it. Mm-hmm. But, if you do, this is excellent. And I want to thank you too, Diane, for putting up with some of the little Skype hiccups we've had. Folks, I'm sure you've heard a few of them. It's just the nature of the way things go. But I think we got it out there, got the message out.
Yeah. So, we appreciate the opportunity, and I appreciate getting to talk with you again.
Yeah, well, we'll have to make this a regular thing when your next fantastic app comes out, which should be any minute now.
Right around the corner.
Yeah. or when they're new guitars, one of the two.
There you go. There you go.
Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you, Chuck.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. Really, you really need to look into this, if for no other reason than just to use it in the most superficial fashion. Again, it'll put you 90 ahead of 95% of the people out there in documenting what you have, just in case. Until the next time, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes, links to subscribe, and to connect with Chuck on Twitter, Google+, Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo, SoundCloud, the MacVoices blog, the MacVoices Dispatch, our weekly newsletter, and on MacVoices magazine, free on Flipboard that helps you do more with your Apple tech. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com, bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.